Welcome to the Nightly 5 podcast with Belle Taylor.
As a child, my world was forever changed. My mother was magnificent. And he took it all from me.
It's been hotly anticipated by fans of the Mad Max franchise, but Furiosa, the blockbuster film starring Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy, has had a less than explosive opening weekend at the box office. In the US, Furiosa has pulled in just $31 million in its opening weekend. That's a lot less than the predicted $40 to $45 million they were hoping for. It's led to a lot of hand-wringing in Hollywood. Why aren't people going to the cinema anymore? Joining me today is the Nightly's culture editor, Wenli Ma. Wenli, are people no longer going to see films on the big screen?
They still are. I just don't think they're going in as many big numbers. We saw with COVID lockdowns in 2020 and 2021, cinemas were shut often for months at a time, and it's been really hard to get people to go back. It was a very slow return, especially among an older demographic, and certainly last year there were some huge breakouts like Oppenheimer and Barbie, but on the whole it is still more depressed than it used to be, which is a real shame for Mad Max Furiosa, because it is absolutely a movie made to be seen on the big screen. It's the visuals, it's the sound. Like, you're not going to get even close to the same experience at home, let alone on a phone. So it's a shame that people aren't turning out, but maybe they will. I do know that in Australia it made 3.3 million Australian dollars at the box office, which is not amazing, but it's not a disaster as such. But seemingly a lot of the anecdotes out of the US is that the audience is still very, very male dominated, and it seems like women are not turning up to see Furiosa, even though the lead character is a woman.
Do you think, can we blame Hollywood a little bit here? Because, you know, as much as we love Mad Max, it's a film from the 80s originally, right? And so some of these, you know, it seems like every day there's another sort of nostalgic remake. And what went really well last year, as you said, was Oppenheimer, which was a new film, and Barbie, which was a new film. It wasn't a remake. Does Hollywood need to come up with some new ideas?
They absolutely need to come up with new ideas, but we've also seen that 80s nostalgia totally works. I mean, you know, like Maverick, Top Gun Maverick made like $1.4 billion, and that was a movie that no one had really tried to do again for over 30 years. So, and there's a lot more coming this year as well, including new sequels to, you know, like Gladiator and The Crow and Beetlejuice. So they're definitely really going back into the archives. I'm not sure if Mad Max Furiosa, what it was that in particular that kept people away, but it's certainly not alone in the box office at the moment. The Fall Guy, which is that big Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt action comedy, which I loved, I thought it was such a fun time, has not done very well at all, especially in the US. It's actually done pretty well in Australia, because I think partly it was filmed in Sydney, so certainly people on the East Coast were keen to check it out. And also Ryan Gosling is coming off, you know, a lot of Barbie goodwill after an incredible promotional campaign for basically a year for the cult of Ryan Gosling. But I think people just kind of don't necessarily go to see movies for movie stars, whereas a movie like the fourth installment in the Planet of the Apes franchise has made actually quite a bit of money despite having really no stars in it.
There's really no accounting for taste. Are people waiting for movies to come out on streaming services? Is that the issue?
I think that is partly it. I think people got so used to seeing big new releases with like big movie stars like, you know, Chris Evans and The Rock just go straight to streaming that the behavior has shifted. I mean, it was already happening before COVID, but COVID certainly accelerated the trend. And there's a lot of stuff that you can't put back in the bottle, or the toothpaste you can't put back in the tube. For example, there are big release movies that do come to at home viewing much sooner than they used to, even though you can't just fire up Netflix or Disney and it's just there within 3 weeks or 4 weeks. You can maybe rent it at home or buy it at home for $30, which is still cheaper than 2 movie tickets. Personally, I still don't think you can ever replicate that experience, but you know, some cost of living, I can understand why people might not want to pay $80 for 2 tickets and some popcorn at the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Although you're right, there's nothing quite like going into a cinema and seeing something on a big screen, especially one of those big, action movies, isn't there? It's a real kind of special experience. And I think it's one of those things that when you actually go do it after not doing it for a long time, you think, oh, this is it. This is the business.
This is what a lot of people were saying last year when they went to see Barbie and Oppenheimer, and often both, is they're like, oh, I really missed this. This is really fun, this communal experience, this collective sharing of storytelling that you get to laugh together, you get to cry together. And also, I think very importantly, you are not allowed to look at your phone. So if you're watching a movie at home, unless you've got that phone locked up in another room, it's all too tempting to go and grab it.
Oh, that's so true. It's having like 5 screens in front of you at all times, isn't it? Whereas maybe we just need to get rid of the 5 tiny screens, one giant screen.
Giant screen.
Just my theory on to stop myself looking at my phone is watching films with subtitles, because then you've got to put your phone down then. You're stuck watching the film, reading it.
Yeah, this is actually another pet peeve of mine is I can't understand why people watch things with subtitles if it's the right if it's like an English language.
Oh no.
Project, and they're watching.
I'm talking non-English. I'm talking non-English language stuff. I'm not insane.
It is much more popular than it used to be, and actually some of the stats do bear out that definitely younger generations are watching things with captions on. So it is interesting, and there's actually, I believe, a court case going on in Victoria where some hard of hearing activists are suing, I think it was Hoyts, to ensure that 100% of public cinema sessions will be captioned.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
At least the kids are reading, huh?
At least the kids are reading.
Thanks so much for joining me today, Wenley. Have a great day.
Thank you.